Happy morning, children. We are back again. Now we are going to see sampling errors. What do you mean by errors? Mistakes. What are the mistakes that you are going to commit, or you are tend to commit, or automatically said when we are doing so many methods, so many ways and means. Okay. So there are certain areas where you are tend to commit mistakes. Okay. Or sometimes you will not be able to get any data, so that the data sampling or the sampling that you are not able to get at that time, there will be a gap or there will be some disturbances in getting the samples. And sometimes even if you get the data or the samples, that will not be enough. You need something more. So sometimes when you calculate everything, or when you when the investigator or the researcher is finding out the inferences, okay, that time he will tend to find some errors in that. That is known as sampling errors. Now we will see the purpose of sampling errors. Why the sampling errors are there? The purpose of sampling error is to study the population characteristic. Each one of you has got, each one of us as a character, isn't it? I am in a different way, you are in a different way. So every individual character is different. So what are your behavior sense? That is called as characteristic. When you say population characteristic, what will be the population characteristic? Population all put together, all the numbers, crores and crores of people, isn't it? So each one will have a different characteristic, but on the whole, a common characteristic are defined as population characteristic. So the purpose of sample, why are you collecting the sample, is to study the population characteristic. You make an analysis of the characters of population. That is why you take a sample. Now the sample size is not equal to the population size. See, now 1000 people are there in RSpuram area in Coimbatore. Say for example, 1000 sample size is not equal to population size. The population size of RSpuram area in Coimbatore is assumed to be 1000. Now that is the population size. Now the sample size is not equal to the population size. Sample sizes, from that you are going to take 100, that is the sample size. So now the sample size is 100 and the population size in Coimbatore RSpuram area is, population size is 1000 and sample size is, or you can have it as 10 or 100. Say, well, let's have it as 100. Okay. So sample size is 100, population size is 1000. So the sample size is not equal to the population size. Is it equal? 1000 and 100, are they equal? No, it is not equal, except in the case of enumeration. If it is enumeration, then it will be equal. If it is not enumeration, it is not equal. Therefore, what do you do? Therefore, the statistical measurements like mean of the sample and mean of the population differ, because there is a difference in sample size and population size. So mean of the sample size and population, mean of the population size will also vary, obviously, isn't it? Now when the sample size and population size are varying, it is differing, and there is a difference between these two. In the same way, the mean of the sample and the mean of the population will also differ. It goes without saying. You need not have to explain that mean of the sample size and mean of the sample and the mean of the population is going to differ. You need not have to say it is going to differ, because here itself we have told that sample size is varying, sample size and population size are differing. So therefore, the statistical measurement, what we are measuring isn't it? Measurements. The statistical measurements are mean, median, mode, standard deviation, like that, isn't it? Not all. Measures of central tendency, all these are known as measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode. All these things are known as measures of central tendency. So, therefore, the statistical measurements like mean of the sample and mean of the population will also differ. Now, see, if this is known as x bar, if x bar is the sample mean, now we are saying that mean of the sample. So, mean of the sample is x bar. If x bar is the sample mean and mu is the population mean. See, now the statistical measurements, which one? Mean of the sample and mean of the population. Mean of the sample is x bar, mean of the population is mu. Okay. So, if both are going to vary, therefore, the statistical measurements like mean of the sample and mean of the population differ. If x bar is the sample mean and mu is the population mean of the characteristic x bar, then the sampling error is x bar minus mu. So, now you are going to find out the sampling error. How will you find out? X bar minus mu. Okay. So, what we are going to see? The characteristics, population, it is the purpose of sample is to, what is the purpose of the sample? The purpose of the sample is to study the population characteristic. So, when we are studying the characteristic, you have to find out what is that? Mean of the population and mean of the sample. So, mean of the population and mean of the sample are going to vary, isn't it? So, that is called as sampling error. So, now you are going to find out the sampling error x bar minus mu. So, the sampling error may be positive, negative or 0. It could be positive, it could be negative or it could be 0. So, these are the different things that we are going to see in sampling errors. Now, the sampling error is going to be explained with a beautiful diagram, so that it will be very easy for us to learn know what it is. Sampling error, it is to find, sample is to study the character of what? Character of population, isn't it? Now, we are going to see the sampling error here. Sampling error. Population mean, I told you population mean is here. Population mean and sample mean, x bar and mu. Okay. Now, population mean is here. You have it here, and this is the sample mean, and this is the population mean. Okay. Now, x bar is the sample mean. See, x bar is the sample mean and mu is the population mean. So, this is the diagram. The difference between these two will be the center. Okay. So, that will be the sampling error. X bar minus mu will be the sampling error, and the sampling error could be or may be positive, negative or 0. So, are you able to understand what is sampling error? Okay. Now, we will continue with the systematic sampling layout and the snowball sampling sketch. Okay. So, now we are going to compare these two and see what is the best one and how we are going to do it. Now, in systematic sampling, the layout is given here. Let me explain the layout to you. Now, the systematic sampling is, as the word goes, it is systematic. I have already told you that what is systematic sampling. The systematic sampling is the sampling which you are taking one by one systematically, and you have a interval also. Okay. Sampling interval, that is denoted as K. Okay. So, systematic sampling is the sampling which is being given in layout. You are allotting systems through the layout in the system layout, and you are giving the sampling there. So, with the selection of first time, the whole sample is selected automatically. See, when you put a sketch like this, automatically one after the other, it keeps coming automatically. Okay, you need not have to wait for something. It will come by itself. Population units are numbered from 1 to n. You are numbering it from 1 to n. Let it be 100 or let it be 1000 or let it be 2000 or whatever it is. Your population units are numbered from 1 to n numbers. Okay, you cannot say this much should be the population or that much should be the population. So, you are numbering it from 1 to n, and the sampling interval is k. Okay, now you are having an interval between the samples. Okay, now k is equal to n by n. Okay, this n is 1 to n you are numbering. Population units are numbered from 1 to n. Then sampling interval is k. Okay. Now sampling interval, the k is sampling interval is equal to n, which is n, the population units, that is n by n, small n. So this is capital N and this is small n. This n is sampling size, the size of the sample. So this is the population units and this is the size of the sample. So the sampling interval is n by n. N will be sample size. Now you are seeing the sampling interval 1, sampling interval 2, first sampling interval, second sampling interval, third sampling interval, fourth sampling interval, like that the sampling interval up to n. Now here we have already seen the population units are numbered from 1 to n. In the same way, say a sampling interval is also numbered from 1 to n, isn't it? Sampling interval 1, sampling interval 2, sampling interval 3, sampling interval 4, sampling interval n. Like that both capital N, that is population units, small n, that is sample size, both are numbered as 1 to n. Okay, that is why after that first is as a first step, first systematic step we are doing that. Then after that the sampling interval is 1, 2, 3, 4, then I is the random. Okay, the random start, you are starting it from that. So that will be randomed. So sampling, first sampling interval, in that 1, 2, 3, 4, I will be the random. Okay, I is random start. So you are starting from I. Now second one is, second sampling interval will be k plus 1. Okay, k plus 1. Here the second k plus 2, in the third one k plus 3, and fourth one k plus 4, and here k plus I. Okay, that because it is the I random start. So you are starting with the sampling interval k plus I. Next one is third one. So first one is your sampling interval 1, 2, 3, 4, you are starting it with I. Okay. Now second one is you are starting with k plus 1. Second one is k plus 1, k plus 2, k plus 3, k plus 4, and k plus I. When you come to the third one, you have the first year, you have just started 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you are adding the interval. First you don't have the interval. For the first one you cannot have the interval, isn't it not so? Then from the second one, the interval between this one and this one. So you are starting with k like this. There is a gap. The interval starts from the second one, isn't it not? That's how the layout has to be, because here I random is starting. So next only k plus I, like that. So k1, k2, k3, k4 and ki for the second interval, and between the second interval and third interval there is again a gap. So here k plus 1, here 2k plus 1. Okay. For the second one 2k plus 2, this alone will vary. Okay, 2k plus 1, 2k plus 2 for the second one, 2k plus 3 for the third one, and 2k plus 4 for the fourth one. and here 2k plus I. The I is again you are starting the second one. Okay, from second one to third one there is a gap. This is the third one. Okay, so 2k here you are giving as 2k. The interval is 2. Here just the interval, one interval. Here you have the second interval, 2 intervals gap is there. Then when you go to the from third one, when you are going to the fourth one. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and n, isn't it? When you are going to the third one, from the third one when you go to the fourth one, there is 3 intervals. There are 3 intervals. That is sampling interval 3. This is over. So you have the third one. First one I told you cannot have any interval. Only when 2 are there you can compare. There is only 1 you cannot compare, you cannot have an interval. Between 2 only you can have the interval. So the second one remains the same, k plus 1, k plus 2, k plus 3, k plus 4, k plus I. Then from the second one and third one you have 2 intervals, 2k, 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 2k. So 2k plus 1, 2, 3, 4, then I. Okay. Then third one, the same way, between the third one and the fourth one, you have the 3 intervals. There are 3 intervals, 3k plus 1. K is, we have already told that sampling interval is denoted as k. Okay. 3k plus 1. Okay. This is the first one. 3k plus 2, 3k plus 3, 3k plus 4 and 3k plus I, the random which is being started. So this is the layout on which we are working or finding the selection of first time. The selection of first time, the whole sample is selected automatically. When you are starting it as I is a random start. You are starting here automatically 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. 1, 2, 3, 4 sampling interval is also there. 1, 2, 3, 4 the sample size is also increasing and the sampling interval is also denoted as k. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and I. Okay. Here the sampling interval is nth time. So n minus 1 for the first one, n minus 1 plus instead of 3 you are having this as n, isn't it? Sampling interval, this is fourth one, so you have 3. This is third one, so you have 2. This is second one, so you have k. This is the first one, so you don't have any interval. Are you able to understand the layout now? Yes. Now, when the sampling interval is nth time, okay. So the number, it is being marked as numbered from 1 to n. Which one? Population units are numbered from 1 to n, capital N. In the same way, sampling interval is 1 to n, small n. Okay. K is equal to n by n. So what happens? Sampling interval n, here you will have it as n minus 1 and this will be the same k plus 1. Instead of 2, 3, you will have the n minus 1 and it will be k plus 1. Okay. In the same way, n minus 1 here also, but k plus 2. Then next one, n minus 1, k plus 3. Okay. Then n minus 1, k plus 4. And here n minus 1, k plus I. So this is how the systematic sampling layout is being given, and with the selection of the first one, first random start, that is why it is I is the random start. So your k plus I, the sampling interval here random is starting in the first one. So next one k plus I in the second one, then 2k plus I is the third one, then 3k plus I is the fourth one, then sampling interval n will be n minus 1, that is plus k plus I. So this is the systematic sampling layout. You have laid all the sampling interval in a systematic way. Okay, systematic layout. That is how it has to be. Now, next, snowball sampling. We have already seen different types of sampling techniques and samples that are available. In snowball sampling, why we have taken this again is to show you the tree or the chart, which is the flow chart of this snowball sampling. Snowball, it will roll and roll and roll and go near somebody, or it will be just falling, 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 and it will dash against each other, isn't it? In the same way, the sampling will also dash against each other, and it will also bring forth everywhere. That is why it is called as snowball sampling. How the snow will roll on to hit the other thing, isn't it? In the same way, snowball sampling will also indicate the others. Now, initial group of respondents are selected. Now, initially, first you will find out who are the causes for it, especially in the case of drug abuses or sexual harassment. All these things only the snowball sampling method is taken into consideration, that I have already told you. The snowball sampling is initial group of respondents are selected first. Now, like a snowball, when the snowball is one, isn't it? Then it will roll and roll and go and dash against the other. In the same way, this initial group of respondents, what they will do is to provide names of other respondent. When you ask them, when you probe the questions or when you throw the questions to them, what will happen is they will automatically start telling they will provide the names of others. They will provide the names of others means, say for example, this is in the case of sexual harassment or drug abuses. They will say not me, he also, not me, they also. Like that, they will revolve around and finally they will hit others also. So, to provide a name of others, that means initial group of respondents are selected, isn't it? First, the investigator or the researcher will find out who are the causes for it, and when you started tracing, automatically they will go move on and on and on, and finally they will give the names of, provide the names of others also. See, when you see this tree or when you see this layout or when you see this flow chart, like, you can understand. Now, first, say for example, now this A will be the initial group of respondent. Say you can even include A, B, C. All the three are the triangular. Okay, A, B and C are the initial group of respondents, isn't it? Now, when you say take up this initial group of respondents, what they will do is they are selected, isn't it? Now, A, B and C are selected. After selection, what they will do is slowly, when you do the investigation or when you do the research work, then the researcher will know how to ask the questions through questionnaire or through contacting the parents or whatever it. However way the researchers are approaching, they will know how to approach or how to elicit answers or how to get information from the others. Okay, from the samples. So, what they will do, they will put forth such questions so that they will elicit the answers. So, when the answers are coming, they will provide names of the others also. Automatically, they will provide the names of the others. How they will provide the names of the others? A, B and C. These A, B and C will say, see, now A is giving the names of B and C. Now, A is first identified, initial group of respondent. A is one group, B is one group, C is one group. Okay. So, first group is being identified, initial group of respondents are selected by the researcher or investigator, and automatically that person will identify the B group and that person will identify the C group. Okay. So, what will happen? He will say, A will say B is also involved, C is also involved. Okay. So, A has got B and C, two groups. Okay. Later, if you take up the B group, then there you will have three groups. See, D, E and F are the groups there. Okay. Now, from A there is only one group B. From B there are three more groups that is identified, D, E and F. Okay. In the same way, if you take up A, there is only one group. From A, there were 2, B and C. From C again, there are 3, G, H and I. Okay. Now again what happens? Now you leave alone these 2 and take it from E. E again will tell 3, J, K and L. Okay. In the same way, H will say M, N, O, like that. They will provide the names of others. So now 3 plus 3 plus 1. So now A has told B and C, B has told D, E, F and E has told J, K, L. Okay. So 3 plus 3 plus 1, 6 plus 1, 7 and here also 1 plus 3, 4, 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 7, 14. When you take up 1 as the initial group, now you have got 14 what? Other respondents. Okay. It is going like a chain. The assistance of study subjects to identify abusers, etc. It is also known as chain referral, because it is coming as a chain, continuously it is coming as a chain. What happens is, once you start identifying one, it comes without any disturbances or without any interference, one after the other, it keeps pouring. That is why it is called as assistance of study subjects to identify abusers. Okay, you are say drug abusers or sex harassment, like that, it is chain, it is like a chain continuously without any disturbance or without any trouble. The researcher is able to identify and probe into the matter of samples. He is getting the samples by himself without any disturbances, because the initial group of respondents are selected and finally this respondents are able to provide with the names of the other respondents, isn't it? That is why it is called as chain referral. So when you take up this systematic sampling, the layout is bringing automatically everything, isn't it not so? Here in the systematic sampling, the layout, when you tabulate it, the layout is giving everything. In the same way, in the snowball sampling, what happens is, the initial group respondents are providing the names without any disturbances, like A is giving B and C, B is giving D, E and F and E is giving J, K, L. In the same way, C is giving G, H, I and H is giving M and O, like that. Almost 14 to 15 names are being given. So that is how the assistance of study subjects to identify abusers here. That is why it is known as chain referral.